A call to line up for military exercises is something these soldiers are used to. But for the past 2 months, these South Sudanese troops have been training alongside other armed groups, some of whom they once fought on the battlefield during South Sudan's civil war.
They're all here. We gathered them. They are now unified. There's no different now. There's no IO, there's no SSPDF, and there's no SAWA.
Some of these fighters gathered here are part of the government forces. Others come from the main armed opposition called the Sudan People's Liberation Movement in Opposition, and a few from the armed group known as South Sudan's Opposition Alliance. This is one of the 16 such camps around the country where the fighters are trained to form a unified national army. It was set up after a 2018 peace deal to end the 5-year-long conflict that's killed nearly 400,000 people and displaced a third of the country's 12 million population. The deal states that 41,500 out of the 83,000 forces from the warring sides are to be trained before the formation of a transitional government. That government was partially formed last weekend when 5 vice presidents were sworn in. This training camp in the west of South Sudan holds about 1,500 soldiers from the 3 different sides. But they're not in equal numbers, even though they're supposed to be. The opposition says transporting soldiers from their areas to the camps is difficult. And that's just one of the many issues affecting the training and reunification of the forces. Soldiers say the camp lacks many basic needs, making life inside hard.
There is no medicine, and we sleep in the open where it's cold, and the needs for female soldiers are not met.
There is no water sometimes, and there is no place to sleep, and we train in our slippers and sometimes barefoot, which is hard, and we don't have uniforms.
The Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission, JMEC, the body tasked with monitoring the implementation of the deal, has reported that since the training sites were established, hundreds of soldiers have abandoned them due to poor conditions. Shortage of funds is another big challenge.
The government made a pledge of $100 million, which we felt would be sufficient to do this initial training. Unfortunately, not all of those resources have come from the government. We've received about 60 million of which of the $100 million. So we continue to encourage the government to make available those remaining funds so that we can really see an improvement in those conditions within those training centers.
A well-trained and disciplined army is crucial for South Sudan's transitional period and to avoid a return to war. Soldiers here say they want to be part of a united army, but how soon that happens depends on those leading them and the country. Hiba, Al Jazeera, Maridi, South Sudan.